Hi, this is my second video on the OWI robot arm. In the first video I showed how I attached 3 or 4 pots to this arm. Using standard potentiometers, I filed the tips to look like a screwdriver and stuck them into the screw slot that was inside. And on the bottom I designed a printed gear which rotates as the base rotates. And those pots have worked pretty well. The 3 pots on the side here are directly wired up to 5 volts and ground, and I take the center tap and read the voltage. The 10-turn pot on the bottom required a dividing resistor, so I put a resistor in there, so even though the pot only turns about 2 turns out of its total of 10, by using a dividing resistor I can get a pretty reasonable voltage change. So I got good signals, but I ran into a lot of things along the way to get this to work. I thought I'd pass some things on. First thing is, if you extend the wires that run from the motors, it'll help you quite a bit because it allows you to put a nice strain relief and a loop so as the unit works it doesn't pull the motor wires too tightly. I also bundled and tied the wires together as much as I could so you have fewer loose ends floating around that might catch on something. Make sure when you mount these pots up they don't turn on the mount. They should be locked down tight with a locking screw, because that'll change readings that you've got. And as you're setting this thing up, I went back and I actually used the controller, and I moved the system by hand, and then I recorded what the pot voltages were. So it allowed me to get some numbers that plugged into the software a little easier. The motor shield's a standard Arduino motor shield, about $20. I discovered after the fact you can buy motor shields from China. I'll show you, here's a unit here. This just came in today. It's about $5, free shipping. It took about 2 weeks, and it looks identical to the one I got. It's probably going to work just fine, so it saved you some money. What else? The newer shields, this motor shield sucks up nearly all the I/O. I think it leaves about 3 pins, so it's going to be difficult to connect the last part here, the clamp. But the gripper, I'm going to probably use a H-bridge chip and do that with the remaining 3 pins. If you buy the newer shield, it's all I2C, and it leaves all the pinouts there, so you have plenty of I/O to work with. What else? What I'll do is I'll set this thing up and actually run through a sequence and show you what it looks like. The software, of course, is the Arduino language, and basically what the software does is it has an array of positions, and it reads one by one the array, and it sets the new position, sets all the motors running. When all the motors have reached their set point, it pauses for a moment and then sets the next set of positions. So it allows the motors to run concurrently, which makes it run a little faster. So I'll plug it in, and theoretically it'll pick up that table over there. So it's going to come down. You'll see several small movements here as it goes in to pick it up. It's going to lift it, it's going to rotate, and then it's going to set it down and do a couple of maneuvers from that point. So set it down over there. Now it's going to extend as far out as it can, give you an idea of the range. And then it's going to stand up and actually wave to the audience. You'll see a little wave here. It doesn't wave very fast, but at least it's a wave. Then it's going to reach for the sky and rotate and get ready for the next repeat. And it does that motion every 10 seconds. It repeats it. Anyway, I hope that gives you some ideas.